You mentioned you have like ADHD. Does that have like some sort of like effect in regards to your performance and your development?
I'll have to say that is a tricky question. Well, I'll have to say that I'm Mr. Old Kanye. That is a reference. If you know, you know. And I'll have to stick by that because I really do miss the old Kanye.
Rexy, how did you get into music? How did you get into this route, this path?
Well, it's a long, long journey. It all started off with.
Thank you. In my first podcast episodes, part 1 and 2, we received 150 YouTube views. My top third and fourth highest ever most viewed YouTube videos. So I really appreciate all your constant support. Make sure to subscribe as that will help the channel to reach even more people. Let's start.
Rexy, with me, I have watched your music videos across like every single platform. And what I really like is your talent as well as your consistency. What I wanted to know and what my like audience wants to know is, could you tell us a bit about yourself and your journey?
Yeah, of course. My name is Rexy, or Emmanuel as my normal name is. And I'm 19 years old. I come from Sweden and I'm a student. On my spare time, and what I like to do is I like to create music and I like to be outdoors. I like to fish and I like to create content surrounding my hobbies. And what I usually do is I create covers. For example, when it comes to my music, I do specific songs that are maybe trending or is more of classic song of, for example, in Sweden we have some songs that are very trending right now, and I like to create songs around them and to push that. And when it comes to being outside, I like to take a bit of snacks with me and sit outside and live stream that uh, and talk about my hobbies and my goals and my future.
One thing which I really wanted to ask you, which is a tradition of his show, and I asked Jordan Hagen, I asked Priyanka as well. I wanted to ask, what is your burning desire?
Well, my burning desire must be to help other people do the same thing I do. And I'm not really talking about the social media aspect. I'm talking about helping other people. I really aspire to help others because I'm adopted and I've gotten this chance to be in a country like Sweden, and I really want to give back to the country and to the motherland Ethiopia, where I come from, and and help them.
Would that be creating joy with your music, or is there different ways?
Well, my goal and my I have a specific line I'm trying to go through, if I can say so. And it's to start off by creating content that people like, and then with the rest of the money I get, I want to create organizations and maybe companies to help less fortunate people around the world.
That seems like such a nice mission, and I believe you will definitely get there because, as you said, you are just 1 year younger than me, so you've got a bit more time than me to make it happen.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I really hope to make a change.
That's perfect. And I want to go more to the music side. And I wanted to tell you about something I read. So I seen this survey from Statista, and they said just over the past few years, the number of music streaming subscribers has soared at a rapid pace. There are nearly 616.2 million people who listen to their favorite musicians and discover new ones via streaming platforms. And the expected number of music like artists is 47,000 in the first in the last quarter of 2023, which is just like increase from 38,600 in quarter four from 2021, and that's just in the UK. And with those statistics, that's a high number of people who listen to music and a high number of people who are becoming music artists like yourself. So the competition is going more and more. And what I wanted to ask is, how did you get into music? How did you get into this route, this path?
Well, it's a long, long journey, I must say. It all started off with a relative giving me a guitar, and at the time I weren't really thrilled about it, I must say, and I really did not like it at all. I put it to the side, and he wanted to help me. He gave me free lessons, and I went through them, and sure, I got some knowledge from that. But then I left my guitar at the side and decided that no, this is not something for me. And then the years went past, and I recently, actually only a year ago, picked up the guitar again because I saw some incredible music videos about electric guitars, and I really, really got inspired to pick it up again. And I started out. When I started out, it did not sound great. I'll have to tell you. But I kept at it, and I worked, and I kept working. And as you say, if you stick with it, you'll do it and you'll make it. So I decided that I have to stick to this one because I got ADHD, and it's hard for me to keep my focus on one thing. So I stick with it because it was like a goal for myself to accomplish something. And then I started recording and publish it on, for example, TikTok, and I got a response. Firstly, I didn't want to show my face, but now I'm more comfortable. And yeah, now I'm here.
That's a that's such a great story. I think. Did you, what kind of music did you start going like within? Was it the music you are doing now, or was it different at the start?
Well, in the beginning, it was only strumming patterns. I started off doing, for example, how to learn a specific song, or how to learn a specific chord, or videos such as the ones I did in the first time I started. And then it went to more covers, and I decided to cover songs, and music that were trending in my own country. For example, I have a music cover I did on a famous Christmas Swedish song called Jag såg mamma kyssa tomten. In English, it would be I saw mom kiss Santa, and it's about a young boy seeing his own father in a Santa costume, and he thought that mom was kissing Santa. And it's a funny, jolly song, and it really blew up. That was the one video that made me go from, I believe I had like 500 subscribers to 1.5 subscribers. So then I started living and played the guitar, for example, and did other things as well.
That's so cool, and I think it shows the power of social media because you just need one video and then it takes off a bit, right?
Yeah,
And I've seen your page and I see you've got a lot of high performing videos, so I think you are doing something well. So just keep within it, and I think you'll be great because you've managed a couple so far. So you're doing great so far.
yeah.
Short break. Over 1,200 impressions on Spotify. However, only 29 followers I have noticed. So if you are listening on Spotify, please follow to allow this podcast to reach a wider audience. Thank you.
I think one message I constantly showcase within my dream is to inspire people who have like imperfection to not let it stop them from chasing their dream or like achieving their dream. And you mentioned you have like ADHD, and with me, like I have a stutter myself. But I wanted to ask, does that have like some sort of like effect in regards to your performance and your development? And how have you used it as your like advantage?
Great question. I'll have to say that is a tricky question, but uh, I'll have to say that the hardest thing for me is to sh- to work with a structure. Sometimes when I get a a thing to do, it's all over the place. I can't structure it. So when I have to do something, it's very important that I keep my focus on one thing, because I cannot have my phone, I cannot have my computer, my TV, or anything like that, because that is distraction. So I try to get tunnel vision on the thing I want to create or the thing I want to do. So, for example, when I try to make music, I create on my own music and write songs and and things, and I try to focus singly only on that, because if I don't, nothing will be done. So I'll have to say that the hardest thing is to start, because I really like to procrastinate. Apparently, my brain does, and that has to be the worst, because that procrastination is the killer of work or getting things done. Procrastination is the killer of goals, I believe they say. So to start is the biggest problem for me.
So how do you battle against procrastination? Do you maybe watch my videos and then you get motivated, or is it a different process?
Yeah, well, I like to actually watch your videos, and I normally comment and like, of course, because you're doing such a great work, and I'll hope and I want you to keep going, because you'll get there. And what I do is I put on some motivation music, and really, really try to get at it, because, as I say, it's the hardest thing for me is to start. But when that is done, it flows. So I just have to go to from point A to point B, and then C, D, F is EF is easy.
Do you know someone called Jimmy Carr? Jimmy Carr.
Jimmy Carr.
Yeah, he's a
I'm not sure.
comedian. So he's a comedian, and he was on a podcast once, and he said something about a flow state. So once you enter this state of like product, like productivity, and you feel like you want to do the work and you want to get the task at hand done. I think he says you have to genuinely like what you're doing with like your situation. It sounds like you like the music part but not the planning part, right?
Yeah.
So how do you balance that? Because if you don't like something, you're probably going to spend more time not doing it, and then you have to rush it, or you have to rush the part which you enjoy more. So how do you balance those two things, you like and things you don't like, to make sure they both get the right amount of time in to produce great music and covers as well?
Um, I'll have to say that I'm pretty bad at doing the carrot part. I really like the cake, but not the carrot. But I'll try to do for every third uh, good thing I like to do, I do something that I do not like. For example, focusing on strumming patterns, or uh, learning new chords, or just learning tones or notes, because that is not the fun part when it comes to creating music. But I may say that I'll have to start putting in a structure that works even better, because at the moment it's not going super great. But I want to become better.
I want to know about you. Do you listen to music? And does it serve to motivate or reduce your nerves? Let me know in the comments below. Let's continue.
One thing I really see you do nearly every single time I go on TikTok and I scroll, I see you have a TikTok live on, and I tried to join and I tried to get in there for like 5-10 minutes minimum. And I wanted to ask, you perform on the TikTok lives. Do you perform like different places as well, like in choirs or in like public places or something like that?
I have not taken that step yet. I want to maybe create music and perform outside. That would be a fun part. Now it's summer and it's super hot outside, so after this, I'll have to go outside and enjoy the summer. But I started out at the end of the summer last year, so I didn't really get good enough, I'll have to say, for me to perform outside, and I haven't really done anything with a group. That would be very, very fun, but I don't know. I haven't get gotten well. I have got the time, but I may not have used it correctly.
Well, I like what you're doing with the TikTok lives because I think that's a great way to reach even more people. I think it's more like compared to Instagram, it's just more centered around followers. But on the TikTok, it like shows you on the for you page. I mean, lots of people come from that space, right?
Yeah. Can I ask you a question?
Sure, yeah, sure.
Uh, yeah. I wondered if you wanted one time, or you can come into my live and maybe even have your own live, and I'll join you, because I really believe that it's a very very good way to to gain a new following, or to get more exposure.
Well, that seems like a like offer on this podcast, so I'll accept it, and we'll talk about it a bit later on. But for everyone who's listening right now, we're planning to do a live, so watch out for that one as well. Okay, let me ask you one question, which I'm gonna find the most like interesting, and I think you are gonna like enjoy answering it, which is who are your top three musicians who have motivated you or inspired you? And they can be Swedish, they can be non-Swedish. Your top three, and why as well?
Um, when I was younger, I really really liked rap and freestyles and stuff like that. So Loop Fiasco has to be number three. He had some unapologetic music style. He rapped about social problems, and he was very very in the face, if you know what I mean. He did not apologize. The same goes for Kanye. Must be maybe number two. He had a more pop rap version of that. And number one has to be Ted Gärdestad. Ted Gärdestad is a Swedish musician who sadly committed uh, a suicide. He lived, and he didn't feel psychologically well, so he decided to take his own life. And in one song he talked about that that life should have a happy ending, but unfortunately it did not have it for him. And I want to say that where I am right now, I only listen to Christian music. So I've moved away from rap and freestyle, because I don't know, and I don't think that Jesus uh, would approve of rap and slurs and stuff like that. So I decided that I want to go on a journey within myself and change perspective on how I should consume music. So I decided that Christian music could be would be my limits.
I think Kanye West, did he do some sort of Christian music in the past, or I think he did, right?
Yes, he did. He did some Christian music, and I really appreciated that, and I really enjoyed that as well. I'll have to say, but he at some points he decided that featuring people that you may used slurs and talked negatively about people was a good idea, and that was not it for me. I decided that I could not support that anymore.
What we see now with Kanye West is he's transitioned into yeah, and
Yay.
it's more extreme views. What do you think of that? Do you still support him, or do you only support his past, or do you support some of his views, or don't you agree with him?
I'm not sure about if I can support him because I do not really know about his new um, opinions. Is he more radical or how is he?
He seems like he he doesn't really care what he says. He doesn't mind offending.
Mm. Well, I'll have to say that I miss the old Kanye. That is a reference. If you know, you know. And I'll have to stick by that because I really do miss the old Kanye.
I think one person who I'm shocked you haven't mentioned, who's a musician and he's a Swedish one, and many people in the UK listen to his songs on FIFA. I think his name is like Kavici, the
Yeah,
DJ.
Avicii. Yeah, he did
Where does he,
super great.
yeah, where does he rank for you?
Well, he is one of the goats. He has to be in the top 10, top maybe even top 5 because the music he's done is just wonderful. But once again, it's a banger and it's so fun to listen to. But as I said, I'm a Christian and I really have to think about it from a Christian perspective. Uh, would Jesus bang his head to this? Would he approve of this? Maybe not. Maybe it's a conundrum and it's really hard to take a stand.
One question which I had, and I believe you answered it pretty much, but I wanted to ask, like, Carl, you religious, and when did you start believing in your faith?
Well, I was born in Ethiopia and then I was adopted to Sweden at a very early age. I was not even one when I came to Sweden. So, and I came to a Christian household and I grew up in a Christian household. So it was normal and a very common thing for me to go to church and go to Sunday school and practice prayers every day, every night, at every morning, and with every time I eat food. So I'll have to say that. I'm sorry. What did you ask me? I lost it.
So, so I asked you, like, are you religious, and when did you start believing?
Yeah. I'm sorry. Uh, as I said, I was born in a Christian household, and I started believing. Sure, I went to church and had a faith, but I would say that I started believing in Jesus Christ at the age of 17. Okay, so that was after my confirmation and some time after that. I really started to read the Bible and pray when I wasn't supposed to on my spare time. And I'm not really in Sweden. We have a a a word called Sunday Christian. So that means that you're only Christian and have the beliefs on Sunday. You go to church on Sunday, but then you're a hypocrite on every other day. So I moved away from that and really started believing in the Jesus Christ. And really tried to do his work.
Let me ask you, religion is becoming so much stronger, but there are still those who aren't religious. Tell us just about your religion and when that belief and faith came. I'm very excited to read them.
Last January, because of because like a really bad event like occurred in my life, and it was a really tough time, and I wasn't too like I was really sad and down, and
Mm,
I turned to God. And with God, if you're with if you're with God, and if you're like trust him and you're truthful, then he's always going to be on your side, because the only one who you can trust is God.
mm,
And like it doesn't matter what religion you are, each person, except for those who are non-religious, believes in some sort of God, and they trust in them, they worship them, and they are always on your side, because everyone who's around you could leave your life, they could move away, they could not talk to you, and so on and so forth. But I think God's always there. It's like that connection of some sort, like that
mm.
soul, that spiritual connection of some sort. And with my religion, with Sikhism, it's more, I think the best way to define our religion is selfless service. So we like
Mm.
to help and be generous to whatever community who comes to like us for support, or just anything like that. And that's my religion. And I think one question I wanted to ask is, people believe religion helps in the like everything happens for a reason principle. Do you follow that?
Yes, I do. I'm a Christian, and I believe that Jesus Christ, God Almighty, has a plan, and your name is already written in His book. And we say in we have a prayer, and it's spelled out something like, "Let your will be let your will be done." So on earth such as in heaven. So what it says is, let your will be done, have your will, no matter what, and let nobody stand in the way. So I believe that there is already a a reason for everything, and things will happen for a reason, because God has made it that way.
Do you believe it's um, predicated? Do you believe it's set in stone already? Or is this something that you can create like a story?
Well, I do not believe that you can change it. Okay, things happen for a reason, and in the Bible, there's a man who denies what God has says and told him to do, and he gets swallowed by a whale, and he's there for a few days, and then he's let out, and that was God's sign to do what he already told him. So God has a will and a way, and that way be will be done no matter what. So there's no reason to fight against it.
There's a quote from my religion as well, from our first guru, and it translates to conquer your mind, conquer the world. Conquer your mind, conquer the world. I really like that quote, because it shows the change must start with you. You shouldn't be focused on helping everybody else if you aren't, if that self-care isn't there for on your side, if you aren't helping yourself, if you don't trust in yourself, if you don't believe in yourself. Because if you don't believe in yourself, firstly, how are other people going to believe in you? I say, and secondly, how are people going to believe that you believe in them? Because if you don't
Mm.
believe in yourself, how can they believe you believe in them?
I'll have to uh, I'll have to say that you're absolutely right. I believe that a change has to start within yourself. Uh, and the moment you start pointing your finger at yourself, and saying, "Wait a second, it has to come from within," everything will change. Everything will change. Not only the people around you will see a change, but you will see a change. And the moment you decide to make a change and to really go for it, people will start patting you on the back. But that is not the time to relax and say, "Yeah, yeah, I've done some good thing," and start patting yourself on the back. You'll have to keep going, because if you don't, you're gonna derail. You're gonna get an ego, and you might even become prideful. In Christianity, pride and glorifying yourself is the biggest sin of all, because uh, Christianity talks a lot about being humble and disown yourself from everything, because the man who cannot do that do not know Jesus Christ. He did not come with a battle horse and a sword. He came on a donkey's um, donkey's child.
With, I see on your TikTok mainly, you get a lot of positive comments. How do you make sure, how do you make sure them positive comments get you in that state of pride? And the second thing is, and I've seen this lots with my content, is like if I focus on positive comments, when I get some negative comments, I think about them so much and I doubt. How do you balance those two?
Okay, well, I really, really get a lot of great comments, but then I get ironic comments saying, "Oh, you're so good," or maybe "You sing like a bird," or something like that. But they mean the opposite. And then I get some comments talking just horrible things about me, saying the worst things imaginable. And those things, if it's not critique or criticism, that does not affect me at all. You can call me whatever you want, whatever. I believe that from a young age, I was a problem child. I didn't really care about what people thought about me. I went my own way, and I said, "Let it be, let it be that way." So if you said, "Don't do that," I would certainly do that. And I've moved away from that, and I've become a better person, and I try to follow the things I should follow, 100%. And when it comes to taking offense when people call me things, I shut it out. And the same goes when positive things come. I take them in and I evaluate them and say, "Thanks, I appreciate that." And I normally try to ask them if they've thought something was worse or bad, or something that I could do better, because I'm not on this earth to be prideful or to glorify myself. I want to learn and become better with every day.
That's so fascinating. especially the part where you said nothing phases you. Whatever comment it is, you don't really mind. You just keep going and going and going. Did that come from something in your childhood, like being exposed to how someone would be like, and then you copied them, or is it something you watched, or did just come in your mind like that? Because that's really a fascinating topic there. Like, I want to see how that came into your mind, because there's people now, as well as myself. I sometimes look at my comments and sometimes I go, "Oh, does that person really mean that and stuff?" So I want to ask, how did that shape that mindset?
I believe that I have become hardened, or yeah, hardened. So when I was younger, I there was a lot of people telling me, do this, do that, don't do that, don't do this. And I started to, when you're young, you look up for guidance. You look around and people say, don't do that, and point the finger and say, no, 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 don't do that, don't do this, you should be like this, you should be like that. And you're very, very easy influenced. And it came to a point where people were talking and saying things that I knew was wrong, but I decided to follow. And uh, uh, I decided that let me stop for a minute and really, really think about what they're saying. You should do this even though it's wrong. You know, you have a moral even when you're young. You know that hitting a person is wrong and stealing is wrong because you've taught that, and and it's within yourself too, even if you're not taught that, because in the nature it's the same way. If a animal steals something from another animal, they will get revenge. So you know that's a wrong thing to do. So I started to not care. Maybe that's a bad thing, but in recent times I've decided that I have to filter out the bad things and take in the good things. Even though that might be harder, it's a better way of cleaning up the mess, if you know what I mean.
What is one tip, or maybe three tips, you would give to someone who who cares a lot about their feedback, whether positive or negative? How can they get that, like, I don't care mindset, like yourself?
Well, firstly, you'll have to be 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 ready to take criticism. If you're shut and if you're not open to take criticism, you'll just shake it off either way, and people will start disliking you. You'll have to be humble enough to take criticism, but then you have to also be ready to understand that some people, and I'm say some people because every person is not the same. Some people just want to see the world burn, so they'll go out of their way to to damage you or hurt you, maybe because you've done something to them, or maybe because they have something in their self that they're affecting and inflicting on you instead. So they take that inner anger or sadness or sorrow and put it on you instead to feel better. Then I would say watch how they move. If they say you should really start going to the gym and they don't go to the gym, okay, could you explain that? why should I go to the gym? And they say, yeah, you because yeah, you're pretty heavy, I might say, uh, and then they weigh more than you. It would be hypocritical to say something like that, right? So you really have to see and watch how they move. That would be my tip.
That's really fascinating because we, every single person who creates content, I think they definitely get negative and positive feedback. And what we thinking always is they don't look at the positive comments much. They rush to see what they did wrong, and then they doubt with themselves, and that causes them to sometimes give up and to quit and to stop. But I've seen, do those come, because with me this definitely does like occur, but do those comments turn as motivation for you to make it and to show them?
I'll have to say yes to that. Yeah, because you have to understand, okay? People will always have opinions about yourself, okay? And it does not matter if you save the world, people will say it was the wrong way, okay? Superman could have saved a whole city, and people would say, well, you didn't save the city beside that. Well, I did my best, okay? So you really have to understand that people will always have opinions about yourself. And I would say that it all derives from their own insecurities. If they say you're bad at one thing, they may be lacking that. So I really really like to turn that into fuel, and that inspires me to even go harder.
What is most or more important for you? Would it be the journey or would it be the destination? The journey or the destination?
I'll have to say that the journey must come first, because you see all the time about rich kids coming from rich parents and families who take their own lives sadly, or become all crazy doing all sorts of drugs, abusing alcohol, and going to very very damaging places. And it really shows that if you're not accustomed to something, that will hurt you in the long run, no matter what. It's just a question of time, and how long can you endure, because it all falls down. So I would definitely say that the journey is the key, okay? Because as I said, if you're not accustomed to it and get accustomed to it, uh, in through practice and through the time, it all will fall down.
What stage do you think you are in your journey so far?
I believe that I am in the beginning. I'm in the beginning. Sure, I got some videos that blew up, but I'm trying to change and figure out if I really want to do the content I do right now, or if I want to mix it up a bit and create some outdoor content. For example, there's not that many people doing outdoor content in Sweden who are thriving and being good at it, talking English. And I really want to maybe go that route and be that creator, because why not? I love being outside. I love fishing and camping and canoeing and climbing, exercising, and so forth. And through that, I want to inspire others. And as I said in the beginning, I want to create companies and organizations helping less fortunate.
That's something I really, really wanted to ask because I, I can see you're like drivenness to like and determination to help and support those who need it. Where did that come from? Did that come from people you were exposed to, like celebrities, or how did that come about? Like that mission to help people, support people, and so on.
Well, I'll have to say that I'm not sure. Might seem crazy, but I am not sure. But I would say that the biggest reason I want to change the world through through the way I want to go at it is the fact that I came to Sweden. I could have been left in Africa and in the poor section of Africa, in my hometown Gondar, Ethiopia, for the rest of my life. Uh, Sadly, people that have disabilities or syndromes or or physiological or psychological disadvantages are left on on the on the place they were left at of their parents. So for example, if I get a child that has a disability, you can leave it in places and you don't have to take care of it. And that is very, very sad, because I believe that every life is precious. That might be a The Walking Dead reference, as Morgan says, all life is precious, and I really, really appreciate that. And I believe that you really have to help out people. So the fact that I got this chance to be in Sweden, have the tools I have, I am very, very fortunate. I have a fortune. I have a lot of money and I have a lot of resources. So how could I not help out?
I seen you had a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
I think it was for gaming. I think, could you maybe speak a bit in regards to that and when that started and why that came about?
Yeah, well, I had a YouTube channel. Maybe people saw it when I was younger, and I was I was a geek, I have to say. I played a lot of video games and I watched anime. And I'm not saying that you're a geek because you do it, but I say that I am, because I was so into it that it became my personality. And I really was in love with the fact that, oh my days, video games could be my life. But now I've moved away from that and try to be more outside. I was a young person. I was maybe 13, 14. I was convincing my dad to, Dad, I have to buy this new thing, Dad, and so on. And I know that a lot of people can relate to that as well. I started creating videos from playing, for example, Call of Duty and other games that I got from PS Plus, Last of Us. I played Days Gone and Life is Strange and so many other games. And I may say that I was not great, okay, but I was young, and now I have the tools and the fortune to make it. So I'll say that I did not delete my channel. I'll start re-uploading videos maybe in the future, but at the time I'll start focusing on other types of content.
I think I think it's best if I tell you something and like my viewers something as well. I don't think most of my followers know this, and I don't think you know this as well. But I used to have the gaming channel when I was year seven, I think, and I think I was a bit of a geek that time as well. But I was more in FIFA, so the football game, and FIFA mobile. I used to play, and I used to have a YouTube channel, and I think I was like similar in terms of how I treated people and how I respond to how I like am now. So, how you see me responding now, I used to respond the same to when I used to have the gaming channel. So I think that like attitude and behavior has kept the same, maybe like improved, and I had a really good community there. I don't think I was good in terms of the gaming, but I did learn a lot in regards to thumbnails, title designs, like creating content, building a community, and so on. And I don't think most people will know that because I tell people that, and they get shocked. They go like, "You don't look like you play games. You look like you're really smart, and you read books and stuff." Yeah, but yeah, that's about me. I was in year seven when I had that channel, and I had it for like nearly 2 years, I think. And
Mm.
I was doing all right on it. The community was really good, but my behavior was the same to how I like them now, the exact same. So I wanted to ask, was your behavior similar or was it different?
I don't even know if I want to answer that. I was very, very different. When I was younger, as I said, I was a problem child. I I was in an era or in a way that no one understands me, and I was very violent towards myself. I talked down to against myself. I had a addiction, and I was not in a great space. I listened to very, very sad music, and that really fuels something dark inside of you. And it has to think about it. If you keep um, keep consuming bad things, only bad things can come out the other side. But if you start doing something else, moving away from that, and trying to become better, light will come out the other side. So I'll have to say that the way I was is not the way I am right now, and I do not want to go back. I'll have to say that.
The concern could be if you start re-uploading and you come back as this version of yourself now, would that audience be receptive to this version compared to the older version? What do you think about that?
Well, I'll have to say that if we can give killers and abusers second chances, I believe that if I, Rexy XOX, a 19-year-old who created content and made content that was very, very different when I was 14, a child, may I say, 14, 13, and 15. If we can give them a second chance, I hope that my viewers and the listeners can give me a second chance, because I'm a different person and I have changed a lot since then.
You seem like you don't want to commit to one thing. You seem like you want to try every single thing with your music, with like your like going outside and surrounding yourself with nature and doing those kind of activities, and also the possibility of also re-uploading gaming videos. It, how does that fit into that mission of supporting like other people, would it be at a place where you're established so you can help more people? Would that be the right way of saying it?
Hmm, I don't know if me re-uploading videos would be in the business side of it all. It would only be as a fun thing. But the money I create and get from my business, from the videos I make and the the things I do, everything, as long as I can live on it, I'll have to work on the side. As long as I can live while working and monetizing my channel, everything else will go into the business and the organizations and companies. So as I said, my goal is to help other people, and I cannot help other people by being greedy. That is why I take the rest of the money I get and turning it into to something greater. And I do not aspire to have a fancy car, a fancy house, a fancy wardrobe, or anything else like that. I'm not a materialistic person. I could live on the street and be happy. Doesn't matter for me. It might be cold, but that's it. Okay? So I really, really, really want to help other people. And if I can do that through the content I do and the rest of the money I get from there, I want to do that.
That's really powerful, Rexy. That's really, really powerful. Wow. How would how do you balance every single thing? Because you are a student, you go to, was it a gymnasium?
Yeah.
You are a student, you go to a gymnasium, you create this content, you work on the side, you are also planning to also do activities outside as well. How do you balance just that? And also in the future, when you run your own companies and do even more things, how are you going to balance that? And does that come from a place of passion, like you want to do it and you don't see yourself doing something else?
Well, if I start by saying when I start uploading videos when I'm outside, I'll have to see how they go. If I have to change something and how to create a fan base that are interested in watching my videos. And when that is booming and is becoming greater and greater, I'll have to start adding other people because it's very, very hard to become something on YouTube if you don't have a team. And teamwork makes the dream work. It's very easy, everybody knows it, and that is the way to go. So if you're inspired or aspires to create a YouTube channel, you'll have to have a team if you're not PewDiePie. Okay, let me say that. So I'll have to get more people on board, and I already have a editor, and what I what I need right now is someone helping me out with cinematics and having on speech when I have camera views or videos showing on the screen, for example, so that it could drive in more viewers. So I have some plans, and the hardest part must be the procrastination part. To not to not do anything, just saying, okay, I'll do it later. I'll do it later. Because that is very, very, very much a killer of goals. So when I really start and go at it, everything can be done.
That's a really like interesting point about building a team because that's how you save time and use it effectively. Because with me right now, I'm doing every single thing by myself, and how I am is I with procrastination, and this is a really unique saying. Like I procrastinating. So I delay procrastination. Like I say, I'll just go on social media later. Let's just do this first and then I'll go on it. And that's the unique way
Mm,
I've been doing it. And that's how I've been keeping on top of every single thing: podcast, vlog, newsletter, exams. That's how I've been on top of every single thing. But I know there's
mm.
more to go. And with procrastination, why do you think then is it fear of failure or is it being too scared to start? Where does that come from?
I'm lazy. I'll have to say I'm lazy. I've lived a very very simple, easy life. I haven't got bullied. Uh, I haven't gotten anything done towards me, and that creates, as I believe it's from a philosopher in the Greek times. It talks about soft societies create soft people, and I really have to say that it's true, and that hard environments create uh, hard people, and I really have to say that that is true because I've lived a very, very simple and easy life. And I'm just right now starting to understand that and starting to understand that I have to go harder, even harder, to become something great. Because there's a lot of people less fortunate than me that are working their butts off. If I'm sorry if I said something bad, and will maybe even accomplish more than me. So I really have to understand that in order for me to accomplish something, I'll have to work very, very hard because I'm lazy, because I've had it easy. Hard times make strong men. Strong men make easy times. Easy times make soft men. Soft men make hard times. So that is very, very true. And I really understand that because I have it easy, it will make it harder in the future if I don't put in a next a larger gear, or the next gear, if you know what I mean.
One last question I wanted to ask was how has and how will religion change your destiny now and in the future? And I will repeat it one more time. How can and how will religion change your destiny now and in the future?
I believe that I have a reason to live. I have to help people because I've gotten this chance. So through Christianity, I want to help other people, and I believe that through my work, people will get help and be more fortunate than they are right now, and how it can change or affect my aspirations and goals is, for example, I will never do something immoral no matter what. If I wanted to, I could create a scene, being more popular and doing very very violent and maybe crazy things on internet and becoming a big large person on the internet, and then changing over to helping other people. But that is not the right way. You have to do in order. There's a quote saying that you cannot start off by doing something wrong and then trying to do something great, because people will always remember the way you went from A to B, right? So I want to do the journey from A to B the right way. So, and as you say, progress every day is progress worth. Okay, so it doesn't matter how far you get every day, as long as you keep going, you'll get there. So I believe that it doesn't matter if I don't push in and get 100 followers every day, and so on. If I do something that is in the name of Christianity, one live stream, for example, and I get 50 followers, then so be it. Then so be it. Because it's more important for me to live a true life as Christian than anything else. Jesus Christ is my savior, and I'll I'll always stick by his side.
Would you say, and this is the final question now, would you say that religion has driven you to succeed and to be a success?
Well, I'll say that if I didn't find a Jesus Christ, I would not be as fortunate as I am. I'm very, very happy inside myself, in my own mind, and in my own body. Nothing can be changed or done to affect me, because I walk with Jesus Christ, and I believe that through Christianity I've become a better person, more humble. It's a hard thing to say that I'm humble, but for example, if you say that you're great and awesome, that is very prideful, right? So I cannot say that I'm humble, but I try to be, and every day I try to become better. So I would say that if I weren't to find Christianity and follow Jesus, I would be a worse person than I am today.
Thank you, Rexy, for this, just for like this like episode. I think this episode was very religious, and it was very fascinating as well to see your journey as well. And I just want to say, you are really, really young. You are 1 year just younger than me. So keep going, keep being consistent. And I really hope to see you on stage with me in the future. Both of us on the same stage, speaking to an audience, 50,000, 100,000, us two just on the stage together. I hope to see us both there.
Yeah, yeah, that would be awesome. I really hope that the future holds that for us.
Thank you so much, Rexy. Thank you.
Big thanks for viewing. This was a unique episode with music and religion discussed. Although, you what do you think? Episode 2 done, and the final thing left to say is shoot your shot.